From the Home Slice News Center, this is the Daily Slice for Tuesday, February 6, 2024. I'm D. Ray Knight. This is what's going on. The runway at Ellsworth Air Force Base has reopened and aircraft started to return to the base on Monday. An Ellsworth official reported that several of their aircraft returned from Dice Air Force Base in Texas. They also reported that not all of the B-1B Lancers that flew to Dice last month have returned. Some of the Lancers from Ellsworth reportedly took part in retaliatory operations in the Middle East over the weekend. The remainder of Ellsworth's aircraft are scheduled to return to the base throughout the week. The victim of a fatal shooting last Friday has been identified. Amy Rose has the latest.
Police have identified the man shot in the parking lot of the Family Dollar on Haynes Avenue last Friday. The victim has been identified as 43-year-old Jonathan Odom of Rapid City. Apparently, Odom was shot during an argument in the parking lot. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Police are continuing to investigate the circumstances surrounding the shooting.
A bill requiring school districts and public libraries to publish policies on objecting to obscene materials that minors could access unanimously passed a committee on Monday. HB 1197 allows for local control, but would give citizens a more straightforward path to object to offensive works. The bill also expands the coverage from not just online sources, but to books as well. Several parents testified for the bill. The bill also had the support of the Department of Education, the South Dakota Education Association, and the South Dakota School Administrators. The bill passed 14-0 and now goes to the House for further consideration. In news from the nation and the world, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken pressed ahead with a diplomatic tour of the Middle East on Tuesday, meeting Egyptian leaders as part of his efforts to secure a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war in exchange for the release of hostages held by the militants in Gaza. Blinken's visit Tuesday also comes amid growing concerns in Egypt about Israel's stated intentions to expand the combat in Gaza to areas on the Egyptian border that are crammed with displaced Palestinians. Egypt fears an expansion of combat to the Rafah area could push terrified Palestinian civilians across the border, a scenario Egypt is determined to prevent. Blinken has said repeatedly that Palestinians must not be forced out of Gaza. Senate Republicans are pushing back against a bipartisan border security bill. Amy Rose has the story.
Senate Republicans are resisting the advance of a bipartisan proposal intended to clamp down on illegal border crossings. That signals a likely defeat in Congress that would leave leaders with no clear path to approve wartime aid for Ukraine. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell recommended to GOP senators in a closed-door meeting that they vote against the first procedural vote Wednesday. Senate negotiators on Sunday night released a $118 billion package of border enforcement policy and funding for Ukraine, Israel, and other U.S. allies. The bill represented a rightward tilt in Senate negotiations over border measures, but still the backlash was intense from conservatives.
Rainfall from one of the wettest storms in Southern California history is easing off, but forecasters say floods are still possible, and saturated ground raises the threat of potentially deadly landslides. The National Weather Service says the slow-moving storm that parked itself over the region on Monday could linger into Wednesday. Authorities are warning people to remain on high alert, and most of Southern California remains under flood watches. By Monday night, downtown Los Angeles had received nearly half of its annual rainfall total in just 2 days. Meanwhile, hundreds of landslides were reported. One near the Hollywood Hills sent mud and boulders down hillsides dotted with multi-million-dollar homes. Your weather forecast from the Home Slice Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 54. Low tonight, 33. And that was your Daily Slice for Tuesday, February 6, 2024. The Daily Slice is a production of Home Slice Media Group, hosted by D. Ray Knight with Amy Rose. Executive producer Mark Houston. Engineered by Chris Jaquess. I'm D. Ray Knight. Have a great day.